Welcome to Culture Talk Tuesday. I am Desiree Connor, Senior Communications Officer at the Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts. It's been over 180 years since Emancipation and 50 years since the Black Power Revolution. What impact have these two groundbreaking events had on the lives of those of us who are children of a revolution? We explore this topic with fashion designer, artist, and activist Robert Young. Your journey must have been a very interesting one. Looking at your bio, I realized that you come from a background of activists, and then the name of your business is The Cloth, which came from possible aspirations to becoming a priest, and you're a designer.
That priest thing is a very short thing, and that was, if there's no go through, you gotta walk around the savannah. A house around the savannah, possibility to get to the lead well.
Okay. So I just wanted to get a sense of how the progression of your life story went. How did one influence the other to bring you to where you are today?
Well, I was every reporter in my school said, if he only applied himself, right? If he will do. And I felt it was good just nearly at the cusp, right? Because I hated to lose. I still hate to lose. So I don't go in anybody's games that they're winners. So I kind of design a way to exist in a way where I feel like I'm doing it alone. What was happening in our house, like in 70, my father was involved, my mother was in some way involved. That's something called the crepe development committee that was meeting in the house, with groups, crepes and in the yard. So there were a lot of things like that. She was always in some trade union or credit union meeting on campus. So the question of knowing that the society is not one that we dreamt, but one that just get pushed by people, felt that we could dream something, possible something. So those are the something next was always possible.
So 50 years on from the Black Power Revolution, how has the fashion industry changed from what you saw in the early days to today?
Well, I remember being in a fashion show in it could have been in 70 at that hall on campus, the old one. You might know it, or you may know it, I don't know. The one that got burnt. And we had reversible jacket, reversible dashing keys, right? We had also fringe waistcoats like Michael Jackson's, the Jackson 5. So that was there, right? Another brother who worked as a tailor, right? So that's that. And then 86, 85 happened where a lot of people were making clothes. I was doing agriculture across the world. But it looked like something that could have happened. So I tried that. And it seems that was the only thing that it looked like I did well that people liked.
Okay.
I stayed with doing this thing that people liked.
Okay.
Not to know if I liked it or like it, but doing this thing that people liked. I liked how I approached it, so I stayed doing it, and I get tired in 34 years still.
This is Culture Talk Tuesday. We are chatting with artist, fashion designer, and activist Robert Young. We know it's a billion-dollar industry worldwide. Do you see a future financially for fashion in Trinidad and Tobago now?
Yes. It's a billion-dollar industry. Billion. It's hundreds of millions in the Caribbean. We buy clothes all the time. I don't know what is possible in this next new period because I don't want the old world that existed previous COVID. We're not interested in that. None of us people of the global majority should be interested in that. It's a time for us to dream something new, and we have to get involved in making sure we push it, we mold it, we need it, into something else. So we should try to sell to ourselves, and not only Trinidad, but the rest of the Caribbean and South America. I don't know how we will do that, but those things are possible. So websites and that kind of stories are some of these simple things to make it happen. It is that people have to make a kind of conscious decision. They are going to put their money, if there's any money to spend, if there's money to spend on fashion, and also what kind of fashion? Fashion that should last longer. That longer people used to have a set of clothes that last them 10, 20 years, right? And that set of clothes will be given to somebody else to have a set of clothes. And it's not a new clothes for every event you're going to. That whole thing about wanting to buy new clothes for the next event to go to has to do with some of the liberation things that they have to do with people of the global majority around internalized white supremacy or internalized racism or internalized oppression where we feel smaller and less than, and we have to have some tips to feel good enough to be noticed differently, which is also important to be noticed differently, but we have to make a more solid choice, rational choice in what clothes or what new things you wear in the body should look like and feel like, and how long you would use them for.
And as you're talking about that, you mentioned the institutionalized racism. We've also seen an increase in African inspired type clothing making a surge across the world. What's your opinion? What could be the cause of that?
Well, Black Panther, Black Lives Matter, those are the recent things, and they had the 70s business happening. But in a way, that is a marketed concept of what Africa is, or what Nigeria is, or Ghana, or whatever the small tribes are, because each group of people or different language will have a different style of dress. And this colonized way of what African print is supposed to be, because it is something that was designed with the perception that we would like it, right? Because it was scarce, it became a commodity as kind of even as a currency, because it was scarce, because they had to wait for some ship to come from somewhere to bring it. That was designed by people who think you would like it. And when you had a piece, you could have barter with it, right? And so a lot of the prints, you're able to Dutch wax, and some of them have fallen and whatever, right? So there is something inside of there where the print and the design and the raw materials are not owned or controlled by people of the global majority. And if they are, they're printed in China and Pakistan and Cameroon. We have to figure out how to make fabric that is controlled by our own hands. We don't seed it in the ground, where it grow, who weave it, who spin it, where it prints, the person who names who print it, what inspired them to do the print, and be able to tell a whole story that is connected to us and about our liberation as people of African heritage and people of the global majority. So China is our friend, right? So those things have to be possible. And even imagine outside of involuntary forced servitude, or outside of colonization, outside of internalized colonization, what you imagine your ancestors would have made as fabric or clothes. Or what if you would become an ancestor now, what would you imagine your clothes to be? Right? So those are the pieces we have to dream. So like when my band this year for Carnival was 50 after 70, right? Which was looking at the 50 years after the Black Power move, Black Power or what we call the February Revolution, which included many other things, included the Black Power thing, right? What would we want the world to be like in 50 years? So it was 50 after 70, towards the next 50, right? The next 50 years. So we're thinking about what the world will be in 50 years. And it was in January, February, we started that. And we haven't done anything other than the band. So there are many things that have influenced it, right? The need to want to connect, right? But a lot of it is commodified. And we need to do it where it's not only about commodity. Or not to do it only when a product is made. Right? You could be able to make something that is a dress style that nobody else wants to buy. But it feeds your spirit.
Branching off from what you're talking about there, you're saying then that your design, your art as a designer can be, for want of a better word, activism as well?
Yeah, it has to be when you do clothing, you have to, as a person whose parents were involved in that, I felt it was kind of like not holding on to not the legacies, but what kind of pathways that they take. Because also I found out recently, my grandfather was a trade unionist who founded a trade union in New York in 1932 or something, and it's one of the biggest service workers union in the private service workers union in the US, right? Thomas Young. So not everybody has to do it, but I decided to question things. There was a certain time I felt that the clothes and the brightness of the design was about making sure people show up enough to see you as a person and not see you as a what oppression. They don't like question their privilege or their perceived privilege, or see your perceived lack of privilege and how they see you. So the truth was to trick their minds so they see you as a person and not see you as a stereotype. So the colors and the shapes and the texture was to do that.
That's really, really interesting that you use your art and your design to make a statement. So, Robert, I want to thank you very, very much for spending this time with us, and happy Emancipation Day. Join the Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts for Culture Talk Tuesday on these platforms.